Good morning, YouTube. Ro here. Thank you for visiting You Grow Ro. If this is your first time, I hope you'll consider subscribing at the end of this video. If you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. I appreciate it. Today, I'm so excited. Several days ago, I got to have the official vinegar tasting with 3 of my friends. If you recall, and I'll put up on the screen here, I believe, an iCard to a video where I show you I made a bunch of different vinegars from scratch. It's super easy. I think it's a great video, and I think it'll give you some inspiration, so check that out. I finally got around to getting all of those vinegars decanted and strained, and so it took a couple weeks, but we got together. We were actually supposed to meet 2 weeks ago on a Friday, but something happened. One of them had to cancel, so we rescheduled for this past Friday. Today is Tuesday. I wasn't able to do the video editing and get it out any sooner because after that Friday, that Saturday and Sunday for the weekend, I did the Cleveland Beer Fest with a big group of friends of mine, and it was so fun. If you live in the area of Cleveland and you like beer and you got $50, this was an event that was absolutely worth it. I would say check it out for sure. The friends that I went with, they go every year, and I'm going to be joining them every year from now on because that was really fun. You don't have to do like we did to where we got a hotel room, but if you're going to be drinking that much and you don't have a DD, get the hotel room. Anyway, that aside, I'm just now getting around to editing this video, and I'm so excited to share the results with you. I got sidetracked, surprise. Anyways, so we had the vinegar tasting. I think you can tell just from my demeanor that it went really well. I know you know how I feel about some of them. At least 3 of them I mentioned how I feel about them. I think it was the apple, the blueberry, and one other I did a video on tasting them, but I made, I think, really around 15 different flavors. I have a list of some more that I'm gonna make, and but I think the guys got to try 9 of them, and I'll show you all what 9 those were. They got to try 9 of them, and it went really well. There was one that did not get a good reception, but I'll share that for the video, and I'll tell you all about those vinegars here in just a sec. So first off, let me give you an overview of what's going to be covered in this video. First, I'm going to introduce you to the guys who did the tasting. Then I'll show you the vinegars that they were allowed to taste, and then I'll give you the individual winners from each specific guy, moving on to the overall winners, and then I'll tell you what's up next, and I'll give you my final thoughts, and even talk about some of the mistakes I made in the process. So if you've been following my channel, then you know that making your own homemade vinegar is extremely easy to do. It's a piece of cake because you've seen me do it in a video. What you need, the necessities, are pretty basic, and anyone can do it. Anyone. I made a vinegar from raisins, for crying out loud. Anybody can do this. It's super easy, and all you need is time, really, the time investment. At first, you do have to check it, but I'm not going to go into the details about that because you could just go back and rewatch that video. I'll link it up top. So let me introduce you to the guys who'll be doing the tasting. Obviously, I wanted to do this over video, but I couldn't do it. We met in a bar, and it was just too loud. It was not working. So first up is Wooly. He's been a best friend of mine for many, many years. I first met him through his ex-wife years and years ago, back when I was a graphic designer specialist. I was a 4-color specialist. Then we have Leon. Leon and I are good friends. We've been friends for, I think, about, 7 to 10 years is my guess at this point. He is a chef and a foodie, and I trust his judgment. And finally is Shubab, another great friend of mine from 7 to 10 years, I would say. I don't know, but it's been a while. We've been in each other's lives for a grip at this point, and Bob is newly retired, and he is trying all things wonderful and doing everything with his wife and traveling, and he's just being a good friend and helping me out here, and I'm glad to have him. Alrighty, so the guys had 9 vinegar flavors that they could try that I made from scratch. There was green tomato, there was raisin, there was blueberry, which was a beautiful, beautiful color, by the way. And I had a pineapple. I did a banana. I did just a regular old apple one. And then I also did a thyme and shallot vinegar. Now remember, all of these vinegars are made with just direct water from my tap, but you could use filtered water. And then for the last 2 vinegars that I made, I did a citrus vinegar that had lemon and lime and orange maybe. And then I also did an apple pear vinegar that was just, using scraps. Okie dokie, here's the really interesting part. Now I'm going to tell you what the individual winners were for the tasters, their personal favorites. I'm going to start with Wooly, our resident foodie. His number 1 choice was the thyme and shallot. That's thyme and shallot. And then his numbers 2 through 5, because he had a 4-way tie for 2 between pineapple, raisin, apple pear, and green tomato. Next up, we got Leon, our resident chef. His number 1 and number 2, because he had a 2-way tie between green tomato and thyme and shallot. His number 3 through 5 was a 3-way tie between pineapple, raisin, and apple pear. And then we'll wrap this part up with Shoe Bob, our retiree. His number 1 was raisin. And his number 2 and 3, because he had a 2-way tie between blueberry and apple pear. And now we'll look at our overall winners. These are the best of the best. These are the ones that the guys were able to agree on. In number 1 place is thyme and shallot. Out of a possible 15 points, thyme and shallot earned itself 14.5 points. Coming in at number 2 is raisin. Raisin has earned itself a whopping 13 out of 15 points. And coming in 3rd place, it's green tomato. Green tomato sliding up the rear with a very respectable 12 out of 15 points. And there you have it. I would say overall, this was a very successful event, a tasting. Even the making of the vinegars went very well. I did have some mistakes, and I talked about those in the previous video where I showed the updates. But the guys were really willing to do this again. And you know what? They said, listen, this went so good. Let's do it again. I'm certainly happy to oblige. So I told them, though, if we do this again, can I get you on camera? And all 3 said, yeah, absolutely. We can do it at your house so that you can hear and you can do a good recording. And then we all did some brainstorming, and they gave me suggestions of flavors they would like to try. Let's check those out. So from the guys, I got ginger carrot, garlic, tomato basil, garlic and herb or garlic and chive, a lime and jalapeno, which sounds great, apple cinnamon, radish, potato, and then I was thinking marigolds, ginger, grape, and hot peppers. Ooh. All right, friends, that does it for the vinegar tasting. It was super, super fun. Sorry to say that again, but it really was. I enjoyed myself so much, not just in the vinegar tasting, but also the vinegar making. I mean, it was fun coming up with those different ideas. I can't wait to get started on this next batch. I'm not sure which ones I'm going to be doing, but I'm hoping I can get to the grocery. Today's what? Wednesday. So I'm hoping I can get to the grocery before Saturday. And if I could do that, then I'll start my new batches this Saturday coming up on the 18th. If I can't get there, then it'll probably be more like the 25th of February, the following Saturday. But I wanted to give you a couple notes. So I told you what was great, what went well, but let me tell you what did not go great. The least favorite, hold on. I had to get my little card here. I took all kinds of notes and whatnot while I was there. So, the least favorite overall for all three guys, they agreed, was banana. They didn't care for banana. One person Leon said that it was surprising because the banana smelled very banana-ish, but tasted nothing like bananas. So banana was a no-go for all three of the guys. Their second least favorite was just plain apple. And I wanted to stress, this is not apple cider vinegar. This is apple scrap vinegar, not apple cider. Apple cider vinegar starts with cider, not apple scraps. So those were the two least favorite, banana and apple. I was surprised by the apple. The banana I thought was just blah, but they had a strong opinion against it. And then let me see if I can find my little notes. There were two goners during the whole vinegar making process, and you saw me remake one. That was the raisin, and I'm convinced that the raisin would have worked if I would have bruised the raisins before I started doing the vinegar process, but I didn't. I just threw them in the jar with the water, and so I am going to try that again, but I'm going to bruise them first and then see how that works, because raisins got so much sugar and I shouldn't have had to do that. And then the other one that I haven't mentioned, and I don't know if you guys noticed, but it was the lavender and thyme one. Now, it never, ever, ever caught any mold. It never had any Comm's yeast. It always smelled really great. But the problem was that it was super cloudy, and I just wasn't convinced that was healthy. Part of me thinks that the cloudiness had something to do with whatever that is on lavender leaves. I don't know for sure. I've been researching it, but honestly, nobody talks about how you can make vinegar from scratch. And if they do, they're talking about seriously only apple scraps, not going in with, herbs and all this other stuff. So I don't know though. So I was thinking to myself, if I really wanted to have the lavender, then maybe next time I will only use the buds, or maybe next time I'll use dried lavender leaves instead of fresh lavender leaves. But it remains to be seen. I'm not sure that I'm going to do it in this batch because we had so many great ideas, as you saw not too long ago. We had so many great ideas for some new flavors. So if I'm doing my math right and I get this started this week, this coming Saturday, then I should probably be doing another vinegar tasting video in, I don't know, maybe 6 weeks time. Yeah. So I haven't decided if I'm gonna take you with me while I make these new vinegar flavors, because it's the same process. It's just different ingredients. But I might. I mean, I say that, and I know that sometimes when I'm watching other YouTubers and they take for granted that I haven't done this before or done whatever it is that they're doing before, and I don't know what to expect, and that it would really be helpful to see. So maybe I will record it, but I haven't decided that yet. At any rate, I hope you're excited about my new flavors. If you have any comments, be sure to put them down below. Like and subscribe, share if you will, and I will see you guys in the next video. Now remember, the next video won't have anything to do with vinegar because I got to start new batches, and that won't happen until later this week. But I'll be back. Thanks for watching, and happy growing to you guys. Bye.